Hey guys, welcome to the Anxious Girly and Happy New Year! January is the time for New Year's resolutions and change. And a lot of the time, when we think about these changes, we think about the changes we can make within ourselves, going to the gym, eating better, saving money. But rarely do we think about reassessing who has access to us. Whoever gets the majority of your energy and your time definitely affects who you are as a person and your mental state. It's little things like who gets to hear your inner thoughts. Who do you go to when you have good news, when you have bad news? What's their opinion? Do they support you when you need supporting? Do they micro tear you down? Whose opinion lives rent free in your head, regardless of the experiences that they may or may not have? And all these little things stack up. When it comes to the start of the year, we are so focused on cleaning out the clutter of our own lives. We seem to forget that people are actually a part of that too. And it's difficult, man. It's so difficult. Well, these aren't gym memberships. It's not a savings account. It's an actual person. But let's talk about it. For for people like myself, especially people that lean more towards anxious attachment, access ex, access to people can sort of feel like insurance. You think if you stay open and available, you won't be abandoned. We often mistake intensity for intimacy, and whether that is in relationships or friendships, we often think that if we feel overwhelming chemistry, it means something. It means something deep. We stay accessible to stay relevant, regardless on how we're actually feeling on the inside. But here's the crutch. A lot of the times, because of our own wounds, especially abandonment wounds, we cling on to the wrong sorts of people. And sometimes these people aren't even bad. It's just they're not meant for us. Maybe not now, maybe not ever, but we cling on to these people because, well, if I don't have this person, I don't have anybody, and then that triggers my abandonment wound, and that just shows myself that I'm not worthy of love, friendship, etc., etc. And that's not true. When you meet somebody who is pretty chaotic and they trigger your system, they're going to trigger a load of chemical reactions in your body, dopamine, adrenaline rushes, um, and you're going to mistake it for chemistry. And in doing so, because it makes you feel like that, you're going to start thinking, well, this is the one, this is the person, this is my person. And 9 times out of 10, this is solely in relationships. But that's not the case. What's actually going on is your body's being triggered, and it's being triggered to high hell because you've got wounds that you haven't bothered to heal, or maybe you don't know how to heal them. And the more you chase that high, the more vicious the cycle is. Now, when you meet somebody safe, because they don't trigger these chemicals within you, you automatically just assume that they're boring and they're not for you, or you're not compatible. Sometimes without even giving them a chance. Sometimes what feels familiar isn't actually safety. It's just your nervous system recognizing what this is. It's just, it knows what this is. How do you know when somebody isn't for you? How do you know that somebody has too much access to you? But let me tell you a little story. I used to have a friend that before I met up with them, I would actually sit in my car as I was driving over to them, and I would rehearse just so I could keep a conversation going. That makes me sound absolutely crazy, but that should have been the biggest red flag ever, that me and this person are not compatible. If we can't even have just a simple conversation, just relaxed, unrehearsed. If you feel anxious when you see this person, And I'm not talking butterflies or just those little nervousness, the little me before you see somebody. I'm talking ground shattering anxiety. Your body's telling you, oh, something is wrong here. Have you ever had plans with somebody and they get cancelled at the last minute and you just feel pure relief? I know I have. They're probably not for you. If anybody knows me, a little quirk of mine is that my accent changes depending on who I'm talking to. Now, if you're a good friend of mine, you will have heard the whole array of accents coming from me. And I kind of know where it comes from. At the same time, I don't. But I also know it's because of my own kind of self-image and where I originate from. If I am super comfortable with somebody and, this person is my person, and I've got a couple of friends like that, my accent will slip into where I originate from. And that is how you can tell with me if I'm comfortable with you. Now, on the flip side to that, if my accent never drops or it seems to go more and more into the King's English, it kind of tells you that I'm not comfortable. My nerves are a bit shot and I'm trying to prove to you that I am worth your time. Do you hear what was wrong with what I just said? Yes, there are going to be times in your life where you have to be formal. If you feel the need to change yourself in any way around your friends, family, partner, just to feel valued by them, then that within itself, your body is telling you that it's not healthy. It's not allowing you to be comfortable within your own skin. In fact, the only thing you're actually doing is telling yourself that for me to be me, I have to be somebody else. I have to put on this act. And it's something that I'm struggling with right now. But at least I know I'm choosing. Now, access doesn't have to be all or nothing. You absolutely do not have to go around cutting people off. This is not what I'm telling you to do. But at the same time, be responsible for who you are letting into your inner circle. You have to place people in your lives in a certain order. There's a certain hierarchy of where they need to be placed. If somebody is a casual friend to you and they don't really show up for you, but they never really made any declarations to in the first place. Like they've always just kind of been that one casual friend. That's fine. I'm not saying cut that person off. What I'm saying is place that person where they belong in your life. But if you have somebody in your life that claims to play such a big role and yet they don't even show up for you, or you can't discuss things like boundaries, have open communication without World War III happening, then it's time to reevaluate and think, does this person really get to have me in their lives? The guilt that you feel is real and it's valid, but you also need to understand that not everybody is for you and you are not for everybody. There are going to be people out there that decide that you can no longer have access to them, and that is okay. We're all on our own little journeys here. You don't have to cut people off. Sometimes you just have to move them to a different seat. It's your life. And I know the stigma behind cutting people off. I know that it's very much in right now. You have to wake up every single day in here. I've said this before, but it's only you that lives your life. If somebody's draining you or you feel like you're not being cared for the way that you feel you should, then stop making excuses and start acting, because sooner or later, and this is tough love, sooner or later, you have to take responsibility for the things that are happening around you. This isn't me victim blaming. This is just me giving you a little bit of tough love and showing you that as adults, we choose who are in our lives. If those people aren't acting appropriately or they're not pouring into you, then what are they doing? What, because you both trauma bonded over a situationship you were both going through? That's not real friendship. Real friendship is somebody that celebrates the highs with you, but at the same time sits in the trenches with you and brings you tea whilst you cry. So when you're sitting there writing your New Year's resolutions, I know we're a bit late, just take the time to think about this. Within 2026, who actually gets access to the new version of you? And think wisely, my friend. It's just about recognizing what no longer fits and what can't come with you anymore. And that's okay. And as always, guys, I've been the Anxious Girly. Thank you for watching.